Abraham and Sarah, God's promise of a baby named Isaac. A long time ago, in a quiet land of sand and stars, lived a man named Abraham and his wife Sarah. Abraham and Sarah loved God with all their hearts. They talked to him, they obeyed him, and even though they were very old, Sarah had gray hair and wrinkles, and Abraham's back sometimes hurt when he bent down. They still hoped for something very special. They wanted a baby. Every evening, as the sky turned dark and the stars twinkled like tiny lights, Sarah would sit quietly outside their tent. She would rest her hands on her lap and whisper softly, "God, is today the day? Will you send our baby soon?" But days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Sarah waited and waited, but no baby came. Sometimes Sarah's eyes filled with tears. She would gently fold tiny baby clothes she had made many years ago, just in case. "Maybe I waited too long," she would whisper. "Maybe I am too old now." But Abraham would sit beside her and say, "Don't give up, Sarah. God made a promise. I believe him." And what a big promise it was. One day, long ago, God had taken Abraham outside and said, "Abraham, look up at the sky. Count the stars, if you can." Abraham looked up. The stars twinkled like little lanterns in the deep night. There were too many to count. Hundreds, thousands, millions. Then God said, "That is how many children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren you will have." Abraham smiled, but deep inside he wondered, "How can that be? I don't even have one child yet." Still, Abraham believed. He trusted that somehow, some way, God would keep his promise. Years passed. Abraham and Sarah got older. Their tent moved from place to place. They watched their sheep and camels grow, but still no baby came. One very hot day, while Abraham sat at the entrance of their tent, wiping sweat from his brow, he saw something unusual. 3 men were walking toward him, but they didn't walk like ordinary travelers. They walked with calm, glowing steps, like the sun knew not to burn them, and the dust didn't cling to their feet. Abraham quickly stood up. Something inside him said, "These men are special." "Please come rest," Abraham called. "Let me bring you food and water." The 3 men sat in the shade of a big tree, and Abraham hurried into the tent. "Sarah," he whispered excitedly, "we have guests, very important guests. Let's make them the best meal we can." Sarah got to work right away. She kneaded soft dough for bread and roasted meat over a warm fire. She added sweet cream and soft cheese to their meal. When the food was ready, Abraham served it with a smile. The men ate quietly, and then one of them looked up. "Where is your wife, Sarah?" he asked. "She's inside the tent," Abraham replied. The man smiled kindly. "I will come back this same time next year, and when I do, Sarah will have a son." Inside the tent, Sarah was listening. Her eyes grew wide. She covered her mouth to keep from laughing out loud. A baby? Me? I'm too old. That's impossible, she thought. Her shoulders shook as she giggled softly. Then the man asked, "Why did Sarah laugh?" Sarah peeked out from behind the curtain. I didn't laugh," she said nervously, but the man's eyes sparkled. "Yes, you did laugh. But is anything too hard for the Lord?" Sarah didn't know what to say. Her heart was beating fast. Could it really happen, she wondered? The next year came, and just as the man had said, just as God had promised, Sarah had a baby. She held the tiny boy in her arms, tears running down her cheeks, her heart bursting with joy. The baby's little fingers wrapped around hers. "Abraham," she whispered. "Look at him. He's perfect." "We will call him Isaac," Abraham said with a smile. "It means laughter." Sarah laughed again, this time not with doubt but with delight. "God has made me laugh," she said, "and everyone who hears this will laugh with me." Isaac grew healthy and strong. His giggles filled the tent. He loved to chase butterflies, count stars with his father, and cuddle beside his mother when the nights grew cold. Abraham would watch his son play and thank God with all his heart. And Sarah, who once cried quiet tears in the night, now laughed with joy every morning. Because God keeps his promises, even when it feels like the answer takes a long time, even when it seems impossible. God never forgets. Abraham and Sarah's story reminds us that God hears us, even when we feel small or forgotten. He sees our hopes, our tears, and our prayers. Sometimes we wait a long time, but God is never late. His plan is always right and good. And when he gives us his promise, we can believe it with all our hearts, just like Abraham and Sarah did. Dear God, thank you for loving me. Help me to trust you, even when I have to wait. Thank you for always keeping your promises. You are good and you are kind. Please help me to have faith like Abraham and Sarah. I love you so much. Amen. Thank you so much for listening to the story of Abraham, Sarah, and baby Isaac. Wasn't it amazing how God kept his promise, even when it seemed impossible? If you like this story, we would love it if you told your friends and family about it. You can also like this video and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another beautiful Bible story. Every time you share or click the like button, it helps us tell more children about God's love. Thank you for being part of our Storytime family. We're so glad you're here.